Wife cheated, next steps. Hello, I've been a lurker here for a little while trying to process infidelity in my life. Long story short, wife and I have been married 8 years, together few years longer total, and have 2 small kids. This year has been tough, and we have had our arguments, but nothing that I would ever think would push my wife to cheat. Anyways, I noticed her lately being distant and being uncommunicative, and decided to confront one evening. At that time, she said that she was not happy and couldn't feel a spark anymore. At first I freaked out on myself, thinking I was being a non-attentive husband, truthfully an issue. However, the next day, I caught a very strange message on her phone that was extremely lovey-dovey. I took a look and then found my wife was messaging a man for a long time with lots of I love yous and plans for a future together. Ducking destroyed? Anyways, taking the advice of the many threads on here, I didn't confront initially. I actually read as much as I could, contacted a couple lawyers for advice, one now on retainer, and got my head on straight and calm. I confronted my wife a couple days ago calmly and asked if she was having an affair, and after a couple minutes, she admitted everything. Long story short, it's been going on for 6 months and she claims it's the deepest emotional connection ever. Complete bullpoop, but whatever. To end it all, I gave my list of boundaries: cut off contact, MC, etc. The thing that I think is the final nail of an honest attempt to reconcile is she got extremely aggravated with cutting off contact, especially when I told her to do it in front of me, and even insisted to see him one last time for closure. I ducking held my ground and told her if he is so important, pack a bag and go live with him, to which she backed off, but not before she told me I was a controlling a hole. Anyways, she sent a text this morning and showed me, but my spidey senses seem to think she will try a different means of communication. I'm thinking there is no hope, and I honestly don't want it at this point, but I just wanted to be able to tell my kids in 20 years I at least tried. We have MC tomorrow, but I'm thinking it's time to file before wasting any time or grief. I'm cautious to move too fast because of my kids, but is this the right way to do it? Comment: wow, this thread got big, fast. Thanks for the awesome comments, it's been helpful to get validation. I have the paperwork filled out with my lawyer, they just need to process it, and I will have to pick a date to have her served. You are all right, this will not end well if I go the doormat route. Need to think about my future and my kids and move on. Update: wife cheated, next steps part 2. Hi everyone. I just wanted to give an update. The past few weeks simply put have sucked, but it's given me time for a lot of soul searching and thinking. As an update from the previous thread, the wife and I did attend some counseling after the initial confrontation, and I will say this particular counselor has been very good about listening to both of us, and not assigning blame or anything like that, and helping to navigate our new reality. She has also helped to uncover some structural issues in our relationship, and while that doesn't at all excuse my wife's behavior, it's helpful at least knowing for a future relationship, and not repeating the same mistakes. As also mentioned in the thread, my wife's initial reaction to my boundary to cut off contact with the AP appeared to go unheeded, and I did catch some small messages between them, before she completely went dark with her chat logs phone. After seeing that, I decided to file, and she was served a few days ago, and in parallel, I decided to have a heart-to-heart with my Phil, as we are super close and I needed to prioritize this support for our kids versus our relationship, as I could see my wife wanted to sweep this under a rug. Needless to say, my wife was initially extremely upset, her fantasy was blown up, but our therapist did talk it through with her from my point of view on why this needed to happen, and I think she is starting to realize the consequence of her actions and start to see there are real things that are going to be lost. From here on out, I'm just trying to process the new life ahead and the huge change in my identity from a husband-father to something else, same with her. I will say since I filed, my wife was immediately shocked when I dropped that on her and she has been very emotional these past few days. I honestly think she thought I would never be able to walk away. I have kept her at arm's length, but I have seen a distinct change in her, and on a positive note, we have talked more, kept our conversations civil and focused on our shared priorities, children mostly. I've made it very clear to her that she left a huge wound on me and that she has to do the heavy lifting to help repair and give me space and time, if I can ever begin to forgive. I'll say it again and again, her actions are the most selfish, self-centered horrible thing you could do to a person, but I have not lost sight that we still need to raise our children, and that is my focus point as I navigate how I will move to the next phase of my personal happiness. I wanted to thank everyone for the previous comments and insight. I am honestly proud that I found the strength to not wallow in self-pity, anger or sadness, and was able to make the right moves to retain my dignity and look forward to a bright future. I honestly don't know all the next moves and my feelings are constantly in flux, but I am starting to feel some inner peace. Thank you all again. Redditor's reactions update after. Redditor 1, I am very proud of your progress. You stuck it out and exhausted that route. Yes, she was deep in the affair fog, but she not only broke your boundaries but also your heart when she told you he was the deepest emotional connection she had. My only advice to you is that you stay this course at least until divorce. Afterwards, if you want to reconcile and you feel it's the right path, then go ahead, but if you don't divorce her and take her back, she and your children will understand that there are some actions that don't have consequences. Again, well done, we are all very proud of you. Answer, thank you. I have no desire to reconcile, it's full speed ahead. I lost all my trust for this woman and she continues to peddle the idea that our marriage went so wrong and no remorse for her actions. Full speed ahead, and I hope she is prepared to live with her choices. Redditor 2, I just read your first post in this one. My situation was almost identical to yours. I caught her messaging AP after she agreed to cut him off. When we went to couples therapy, they tried to drag me into relationship analysis and I blew up on the therapist and my ex after they tried to both corner me about housework and doing more of it. I then realized that the therapists cater to soften any accountability that would cause conflict. I had to force the counselor to confront my ex about the ongoing text messages. She wouldn't do it. I was basically running the counseling session myself and we quit thereafter anyways after I decided to leave her. It's like an emergency room patient comes in with a gunshot wound in his chest and the doctor begins by asking if the patient smokes, or eats too much cholesterol. All those other health factors are irrelevant as long as there's an open hole in your chest. This is why when you started describing your counseling session I was getting pissed and thinking that they were somehow going to convince you that you had a part to blame for the cheating. My ex was also shocked I went through with splitting up too. Anyways, good luck and I think you're doing the right thing. Answer, to relationship analysis and I blew up on the therapist and my ex after they tried to both corner me about housework and doing more of it. I then realized that the therapists cater to soften any accountability that would cause conflict. I had to force the counselor to confront my ex about the ongoing text messages. She wouldn't do it. I was basically running the counseling session myself and we quit thereafter anyways after I decided to leave her. It's like an emergency room patient comes in with a gunshot wound in his chest and the doctor begins by asking if the patient smokes, or eats too much cholesterol. All those other health factors are irrelevant as long as there's an open hole in your chest. This is why when you started describing your counseling session I was getting pissed and thinking that they were somehow going to convince you that you had a part to blame for the cheat. I will say I went in very defensive about this counselor, but she has been very helpful, and has lots of experience with infidelity. She can see there were some unmet needs in this relationship, but she has not let my wife off the hook for her behavior and praised us for at least agreeing on many topics important for our children. I have been very open to what I want from this counseling, and I will say I'm getting some positive benefit off of it, thankfully. When I told her some details about why I decided to finally drop papers, she agreed wholeheartedly this was the right thing to do and would help us navigate our issues. Redditor 3. Don't discount what will be lost if you stay. This is never talked about, but it's a very real thing. Anyway, you are on the right track. Though I will say I think marriage counseling at this point is a mistake in this situation. You can't work on a marriage without a framework of good faith. You need that as a solid foundation. It takes consistent effort for a WS to build that, and it's something that needs to be earned. It's just a waste of money to try to do that right after an affair. Like putting up walls on a dirt slab. I think the reason why filing brings peace is because one of the things that is stolen from you by cheating is your ability to have agency in your life. You recover this when you file. Your future is no longer subject to your cheating spouse, who by actions left you to make uninformed decisions about your future. Filing immediately regains control. Even if you eventually stay together, it balances the scale to a more even level of control. I would be prepared for the possibility of a sudden change of heart by her. Affairs have none of the cares of real life. It's very easy to have the best relationship of your life when the only time you spend together is taken up by only the fun stuff. There is also an artificial intensity that the forbidden nature of the relationship builds. That will be gone now, as well, and real life has already encroached on her la-la land. She may come running back to you to save her. But honestly, this is more about her consequences and less about her love for you. Besides, I think most WS mistake intensity of feeling for love. They desperately want to be with their AP because circumstances won't let them, and they think this intensity means it's a deep love that they never felt before. Nope, it's just lust. Then when their marriage is about to fall apart and they are about to lose the primary person in their life, they suddenly intensely want to be with that person again. But that also isn't love, it's desperation. One of the first things you need to ask is do they even know how to love? Besides, their contrition is really only a requirement. To me, the most important thing you want to make your decision by is what the quality of your life will be moving forward. Good luck, op. Continue to be strong. It will serve you well in whatever relationship you have going forward. You will recover faster too. Redditor follow-up, this guy gets it. The manner by which cheaters steal their partner's agency is more evil and reflective of their malice than the act itself. She was more than willing to let you live your life in a manner that benefited her at your expense. That's reflective of a complete lack of respect for you, not just as a partner but as a human being with the right of self-determination. I imagine she had no qualms about having time with you during her affair, as well. If I was being cheated on, I would never want to so much as touch my unartful partner, let alone consent to something further. She was more than willing to repay you by deception, a concept which is picking up traction nowadays and which should be applied to infidelity scenarios of the sort I described in Update, Advice, Grey Rocking During Divorce Proceedings. Hi everyone. I posted a few threads about my ongoing saga, but the abridged version is wife cheated, I caught her. She gave me the I love you but not in love, and AP is the greatest emotional connection ever BS and has trickled truthed, gaslit, everything to the script. I then proceeded to drop papers on her, and well, here we are a few weeks later. Long story short, now, in the post-serving phase and having to cohabitate for now, since I want to spend as much time with my children as possible. I am now in a separate room too, so this has helped me begin to get that distance. I've implemented the grey rock with my SDBXW, generally try not to be interested in any discussion but have to fake it a little, especially with kids around. They are still small but try to be upbeat as they can sense a lot. I'm also not making myself available in the evening, going out with friends, working out, whatever. Any other advice on how to best handle this situation? It's a delicate balance. I want as much bonding time with my kids and have sucked it up for family dinners and whatnot. Any other do's and don'ts? Update: wife cheated, next steps part 5, best advice. Hi everyone. I've made a few posts prior, and to those that don't know the story, it's simply wife cheated, greatest emotional attachment ever, love you but not in love, etc. I threw down papers, and well, I'm just over 1.5 months after D-Day, and working like hell to move on. The purpose of this post is not for any update. All I can say is the process is ongoing, and I will give the appropriate update at the right time, likely a while. My only request is for anyone that has gone through the process, please share any good advice, lessons learned, things you would have done differently, or good things to know. The advice in the previous posts have been super helpful, and those that have reached out in other ways have been incredible, just reaching out in case there is more that can help. Update: advice: how did you deal with your kids after infidelity? Hi all. Wanted to ask some advice for those that youngins and dealing with your affair. As for background, I attached a link to one of the threads I made previously. No major update now, just going through the process. I have 2 little ones 5 years old, so far they do not know what is happening, and the SDBX and I are acting amicable and doing activities with them mostly separate but once in a while together, and trying to keep them on their normal routine. How did people break the news to them? Was there any short-term or longer-term issues that popped up because of divorce? What worked to keep them emotionally healthy? Despite my anger and frustration at the selfishness of my SDBX, we have both acted in a way to not impact them, and so far she has not abandoned or treated them badly by any means, but I do spend more time playing with them, and I do see her spending more time on her phone than interacting with them. We also agreed no bad-mouthing or negative talk in front of them. So far I will say it's going good. The only wild card is when we are separated and AP decides to enter the picture officially, but I will just deal with that when it comes. Any and all advice is great. Those two are my world, and Dad is eating SH1T sandwiches for them while trying to move on. Update: forward-thinking minimal to North Carolina after divorce with kids. Hi all. Just seeking some advice as usual as I try and navigate through my situation. I just wanted to ask, for those with kids, how has North Carolina or minimal contact worked out for you after divorce? What hasn't worked? My SDBX has expressed wanting to be friends, but I have not entertained this and expressed clearly I can't offer friendship to someone who has betrayed me so bad. Part of my story is below along with other threads asking for advice. What have been some challenges folks have had post-divorce with kids and keeping minimal contact? Do you allow your ex an evening on your own week or a phone call, video call? Appreciate any experience and advice as always. This forum has helped me so much. Update: did your partner who cheated on you get jealous once you moved on? Had an interesting question to ask for those that were betrayed. Once you decided to move on and separate from them, or they pushed you out of their lives, did they end up jealous once you started seeing someone else even though they were with AP? I'm still in the D process and not thinking of dating or anything at the moment, but I have heard many a times that they don't want to be with you, but they sure don't want anyone to be with you either. Anyone had this happen to them? Even if they say their AP is the greatest thing since sliced bread, greatest emotional connection. Update, she cheated but I'm made to feel like the a-hole. Hey everyone, my story can be found in my post history, but long story short, as always, wife cheated, found her greatest emotional turd ever, I threw down papers and the train is riding to D-Town. Just wanted to get some stories on how folks dealt with in-laws, friends, etc. making you out to be a bad guy. I did get the jump after filing and told some of the in-laws, my family and some friends, but I didn't broadcast too wide as I want to keep some things quiet. That being said, I know my SDBX likely threw down her side, and well, I am getting some cold vibes from a lot of her family and some other folks. I know blood is thicker than water, but it sucks when your close family turns their back despite being a good dad and husband and the wife being an immoral turd. Did people start to see stuff later on and change their opinion? Did you just stop caring and move on? Update, wife cheated saga, the unexciting conclusion. Hi everyone, as of today, there is some closure coming my way in my saga that started over the summer and have been posting, getting advice from everyone here. I just want to start off and thank this community for the incredible support and advice, especially to those folks who privately messaged and offered words of wisdom along the way. This is a crappy process to go through, especially when close family is far away. It sucks to be alone with your thoughts, but there is some wisdom and introspection to gain during this. For those that need a recap, one of the many threads is below, but the TL, doctor is my wife cheated and tried to hide it. I found out, realized there was no hope as she was deep in the fog with AP and immediately filed on her. Anyways, the past few months have been frosty but relatively drama-free as the SDBX and I separated our lives in the house but still did things for our children. The discovery and mediation process proceeded pretty quickly. We agreed on 50-50 for our kids along with schedules and holidays, and since it's a no-fault state, asset division was by the book with some give and take. I won't go into details too much at this time, maybe another post in the future, but I will be finding a place soon for a fresh start. The final conclusion is on the horizon, but for the most part, the D is complete. As for my advice from this whole fiasco, I learned a bunch of things. 1. Don't bother with a pick-me-dance. I tried for a week before wising up to her cheating. My SDBX is still in the fog, but it's her decision, she needs to live with it. 2. Do lawyer up with an experienced family law attorney, who is reasonable. I can't say enough of the person who took care of me. Understanding that this is what I want versus reality was important in converging to the end. I don't have any crazy ridiculous fees as I did a lot of the prep and avoided hours and hours of back and forth, and this was able to be settled rather quickly. 3. Do lean on friends and family for support as much as possible. 4. Working out exercise is key to keeping your mental health. I hit the weights a month after D-Day and am starting to reap the benefits, and that confidence has been helpful to get across the finish line. 5. Get into IC and talk with someone. This has helped me tremendously. 6. I realized this from all the posts I read, but the cheaters' decisions are all on them. I heard it all from my SDBX. I was a roommate. I love you, not in love, our marriage went so wrong, I worked too much, blah blah. Truth be told, now that I know the timeline, our marriage went wrong after she invited someone in her life that was feeding her lines to stroke her ego and give her extra attention, and she had to put up walls and make me the bad guy to justify this in her mind. Sure, She may have been stressed from kids' day-to-day life in a long-term marriage but not communicating to her husband, and confiding in a two-time divorcee cheater with no moral compass is all on her and a recipe for disaster. The exciting final chapter of Captain Saknat's Freeman Cheese 5-year plan Sid AP is yet to be written, but poor choices carry consequences. That is all I will say on the matter. Again, thank you to everyone. I still have a lot of work ahead but also many adventures in this new chapter of my life. I hope I can return the favor to anyone who needs it. Please reach out if anyone needs a helping hand. I am here. Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1, hitting the gym to lift weights and or do martial arts will take you to a new level as a man. Good job. Don't be surprised if she comes crawling back. Redditor follow-up, I'll bet good money she will, but op should never take her back. Her behavior is cruel and inexcusable and she'll only do it again at some point if her trigger points are hit. This is how she reacts to adversity and boredom. I know some people can change with intensive therapy or getting religion, but I don't think it's very common. She may regret what she did and how it ended up, but will it change her so she never cheats again? I would doubt it. She showed she fundamentally does not care about op or even the well-being of her kids. Redditor 2, number 6 is a brilliant summarization of what frequently happens. What went wrong? Hope you all the best, man. Redditor 3, please tell me you've told your kids the truth. Op answer, they are both very young but they will get an age-appropriate, truthful explanation soon. There are reasons for holding off I won't get into, but yes, they will know.